What's up, guys? Subzeric here, back for another VOD review today with our first real-ish VOD review of the new patch. I am recording this the morning that the patch dropped. We've already got some stats. We've already got a lot of games on the APAC regions and things like that. This game is actually a game that was played on PBE because I watched this game last night and I said, okay, this is literally like a perfect game to talk about this comp that I want to talk about. And it's literally unchanged from any of the A patch stuff, which we'll kind of talk about later. The game itself, not the unit, but we'll talk about it. And yeah, it's just kind of a perfect spot to talk about this comp. So this is also a like I said, it's a PBE game. It is a scrim between, I think it's Broseph's team, maybe it's Broseph's team and then some of Frodan's team, but it's this box coaching clash. I don't know what he calls it actually, but it's basically a bunch of different coaches lead teams in, I think it's 4v4. So pretty cool. All right, Deadlier Cap, Priz Ticket, Shimmer Scale Essence. I believe in this spot originally Broseph thinks that he's going to take Priz Ticket and play into Echo. He says, you know, I have a half Titans here. Well, I have a whole Titans here. I don't think he's thinking of Gwinsu Slam if he's thinking about Blade. If he's thinking of Echo, then we shouldn't think about Gwinsu, as we've kind of talked through it before. But he does have the Echo now. He's got a lot of pieces to it, and yeah, he's actually thinking a little while here because there's someone else in the lobby who wants to play Echo in this spot who has slammed Titan's Resolve, and this is actually somebody on his team, which is funny. This is 4v4, so he wants to not contest his own teammates, and so he's like, oh, you know, maybe you have to pivot out, maybe I have to pivot out. They're kind of trying to figure out what the best route is here. But around here, I think it's either this round or next round here. We'll see. It's I think it's next round. Yeah, Broseph really starts to discover, actually, okay, I have a really good line into a completely different comp, a completely non-Echo reroll-y comp, and one that caps way higher than Echo reroll, caps way higher than almost every other comp in the game. So we chill this fight as well. Actually, I think there's one more fight where we're thinking of potentially playing Echo Reroll. We're scouting the lobby. We're seeing some Noxus stuff going around here. I think this next patch, I mean, a pretty big shift, I will say, in this new patch is, as I kind of talked about in the patch rundown yesterday, pretty sure Bilge is like close to unplayable. They over nerfed this comp so hard, and didn't really give it any kind of compensation buffs while also buffing up a lot of other stuff that I don't think it's really playable. So one thing that you want to try to avoid, and you will see a lot less of in your lobbies. But here, okay, carousel here. We see a Leona with a sword here, and this is, I think, what gets Broseph's kind of wheels turning towards a potential line that he can play. Because, you know, for all of, well, let's go back. We need now to go back 2 patches ago. Anytime you saw Leona, you would say it's a Diana game. And Diana's been changed a good bit to the point where she's not an amazing primary carry these days. It's not like you're, you know, jumping out of bed to play Diana solo carry like you were in the past, where she's this kind of unkillable drain tank that just like lasts forever and becomes an absolute monster. No longer is that really how you want to play Diana. Now what you want to do is, when you see this Leona pair, or, you know, Leona 1 and, you know, maybe eventually a Leona pair, especially with Econ Augment in a spot like this that's going to allow you to roll a lot on 7, you say, wait a minute, this might be an Aurelion Sol game, because A-Sol, talked about in the patch notes, got some huge buffs. While we full open this game, I will just show you this really nice tactics.tools page, which is, and yeah, he's going to team planner out all the Targon units. You can see tactics.tool. This is the trends page, and you can see the units that improved the most this patch: Leona, Zoe, A-Sol, Diana. This comp got a huge buff, and it was, you know, obviously close to unplayable before the patch, so it needed a huge buff. And I think, looking at the stats, it looked like it landed in an okay spot, but watching this game, yeah, well, let's just watch this game together, because this game, it looked pretty unreasonable. And what's crazy is they did A-patch nerf this comp. The thing is, they A-patch nerfed the Meteor, which I wanna be completely accurate for you guys, so I'm gonna pull up the numbers here. The Meteor comes at 700 Stardust. that's pretty late into the game. Also, Broseph loses by 2 Groms? What is he doing? Oh my god. I mean, this board looks horrible, and all he did was slam a GS. All right, well, just goes to show the comp is good enough that you can lose by 2 Gromps, and well, you'll see. You'll see how well it does. Offs to make the GS slam here, I think mostly because he's afraid of losing, and also because ASOL has changed. If you guys, once again, didn't catch my patch rundown, you no longer need to play for this maximum amount of casts ASOL. You just want to play for a max damage ASOL. So while we do augment, I can actually even pull up Aurelion Sol item stats here, because I think it's quite important. I mean, I don't think it's healing orbs. I mean, I think all of these are horrible. I guess you're reroll spreading roots because you know what you're playing towards, and the line we're playing can't really use spats. And then we take magic roll. Magic roll can be econ here. It could be items. Could be a lot of good stuff here. And we get a bunch of gloves, which I guess is going to make us make JGTG, which is pretty good here. But yeah, so stats really like a JG Nashor's Shojin, it looks like, on ASOL, and after we are here, I'll just pause and pull the stats over here. You no longer want to do this kind of Gwinsu Shojin build. This looks really, really bad on the new patch. Just like JG Nashor's looks great, looking like Spell Crit, doing really well on him. You know, Death Cap JG Shojin, but the Nashor's actually a real standout on this guy, interestingly enough here. And Invoker Spat also looking really, really good on him to kind of ramp up his AP across the game. So that's the idea behind the new ASOL build. You're really just optimizing for damage, but you know, he's still a caster. You still want at least a mana item, a mana item on him, and you know, maybe two when talking about like the JG Nashor's type stuff, or like the Nashor's JG plus or like Shojin as well. T-Hex board from Frodan here. I will say we can look at what Frodan ends up placing this game. Everything that I have seen has actually indicated that T-Hex was under buffed. Yeah, let me pull up the trends page and see if I can even see T-Hex. I don't see T-Hex trending up more than any of these other units, which is better than a 0.3 delta. So let's see, T-Hex. I typed TY Hex. T-Hex averages a 5.2 on this patch. Last patch it averaged a 5.2. So it looks like it literally, though actually I think these stats are unupdated. Let me just use Explorer. I think that'll be better. Going into Carousel here, we do end up just taking Tier here because we need a mana item on this dude. Yeah, it went from a 5.18 to a 5.20. Interestingly enough, it looks worse, which is crazy. All right. Here is the important part when playing this comp. We need a Leona 2 here, and we need 1 Taric. This is pretty easy to roll for on 7, just because your odds of finding 1 Taric are pretty good. Sadly, we do not hit those odds. We completely miss on our Taric here, which is actually really, really, really rough. It's, I mean, not that likely to completely miss here. I will say, by the way, as this comp becomes more contested over the course of the patch, if you have multiple people doing this roll down, it's going to start to get really sketchy, because as more people find their Tarics, it's harder for you to find your Tarics. So I would say just play good TFT. You know, I would try not to be playing this in a super, super contested spot. Broseph does get a little bit of a bailout in that he does hit the Zilean here, so we can at least play this here and move items over and then move the TG over to the Diana here. So our board gets a little bit stronger in this spot here, but it actually still looks pretty desperate. This is a pretty, I mean, it's a horrible spot for ASOL, I would say. We have one, you know, Priz Econ Augment, and we still haven't found our Taric by 3-7 here. The upside is he does use one of his free rolls and does hit Taric here, so we are so back. But a 4-1 ASOL with Priz Econ Augment is not ahead of schedule, right? We could have just taken that gold augment that gives us Shojins and played for it instead. So not an amazing spot to play ASOL by any means. I think if anyone says, if you top forward from this spot, I would call ASOL pretty good. We do unlock him here, and so we are going to field this board for now with just the Shyvana as our very nice +1 here, and then just going to make a tank item as a vow and slam the Shojin JGGS onto the ASOL here. So Asol, if you haven't played around him this set, I don't blame you because he's been pretty bad. But the way this guy works now is the more damage he deals across the course of a fight, the more Stardust he stacks up. And the other thing is the number of Targon units that you play also gives him a multiplier on the amount of Stardust that you are getting. So you want to play vertical Targon as long as possible here. Last augment, by the way, Crash Test indiscriminate last second. Crash Test got buffed pretty hard, right? It's a 1.75 second stun instead of a 1.25 second stun, and he needs more frontline, so I think this is a perfect take, actually. But yeah, so the way that Asol works is you want to play 6 Targon as long as possible. Broseph kind of realizes, one, the Zillion is just a much better unit than the Aphelios. The Aphelios can always be the first one to come out. You know, the Zoe's providing you MR Shred, that's pretty solid. The Leona Diana play kind of nicely together, and the Taric you're playing almost usually for the whole game just because he's a really great aura. But the Aphelios is really not great. So usually once you have something better than an Aphelios, you can play it, especially when you're in a spot like this, and it's a little scary, right? You know, you're a little bit afraid that you might just die. So this is why we are playing this this setup here. We're gonna lose a few stacks on our Stardust here, but the upside is we are going to be a lot stronger, like a lot stronger, and we have that Zillion giving us that XP to play for as well, which will allow us to push 8, push 9 faster and things like that. So yeah, you can see this Asol unit, by the way, though, still just with the buffs to his damage at the early stages, we're fighting reasonable boards and just clearing 8.2k damage with a 3-item Asol, and this is a scaling unit, right? This is a unit that is supposed to start out weak and get strong, but I think where they kind of messed up is this guy seems really strong now. We reforge here. I love this reforge so that we can look for another tank item here, and we do actually get the Lucian Senna with redemption attached. This is amazing. So we can just make this onto Leona, have a 3-item tank, and we can very likely just level for Lucian Senna here, just to get that spike on our board here. We are going to level up, get that little bit of Zillion XP. Going to use our free rolls to roll down. We got a lot of pairs to look for here. Find another Asol, which is so good. We are going to opt to play the Piltover onto this board. Okay, over Lucian Senna. So yeah, I mean, just opting to say the Lucian Senna plus the Zillion is worse than just getting 2 Pilton on this board. I could see it, yeah. Lucian Senna was nerfed pretty precipitously, though the main nerf to Lucian Senna is to their armor shred, which we don't, care about that much. But yeah, you can see here, we kind of clear Frodan's board. It's not even close. Frodan playing that T-Hacks. I will say, going up, it's our moment, is Asol, and going down something, or in an earlier round, what is... Okay, I don't know. Look, it is 8:05 a.m. I am not used to recording a video this early, guys, but I wanted to put a video out on the new patch for you guys, literally right before I run to work. I am recording for you guys, and if that doesn't deserve a like, a comment down below, a subscribe, then what does these days? But yeah, you can see. We hit an Asol, we're on a 7 streak now. And the thing is, we are only scaling up. Broseph hovers over his quests here. He just got the knock up in the Star Crash. He's soon going to get the Shockwave, then the 33% bonus true damage. We have scaled through all these. And, this 675 is when he starts to go crazy. That is the part that they nerfed, is his cap, which is a good nerf to his cap, right? The problem is it seems like from watching this game, they probably should have nerfed his... the below part a little bit as well, the kind of like, okay, how do I reach this point a little bit as well. Opts to sell his Zoe off here now that he has the Azir. So this is the other kind of skill testing bit to this comp, is when you start pivoting out of more of the Targon units, because we're losing some Stardust here. We're losing even MR Shred, but we are gaining a Azir. I guess you could make Void Staff on the Azir off the bow if you want to. Looks like he's just, or you could make Spark, actually. Spark Shojin would give you a similar type thing. Does he care? Maybe he doesn't. He's going to make Shojin here. Oh yeah, I was pretty surprised by this, that he opted to make double Shojin Asol here. I don't completely understand this, because I would think that GS is just more DPS onto this guy. It's not like we have any damage amp onto him, but I mean, casting obviously is more damage, but I would have thought that the Giant Slayer would be a better multiplier on the damage, but he opts to go for this, and then moves the GS over to the Seraphine. So just saying, yeah, my Asol's got enough stuff, especially with all this Stardust stacked up at this point, that we want to just get this guy casting. I mean, I guess you can also kind of see him a little bit as a utility unit with now that we've gotten the knock up here. So maybe that's the idea, is he just says, you know what, I want to be knocking people up as frequently as possible here, and so I'm just going to go go for the double mana on him. That kind of makes sense, and also makes sense why stuff like Nashor's JG Shojin looks really good on him, because you do later in the game want him to be both a knockup bot and, I mean, just a very significant source of damage. All right, push is going to come to shove soon. Broseph's going to have to decide what he wants to fit on this board, because there's a lot of stuff that you can play here, right? There's the Lucian Senna, there is potentially this Renekton that we can fit here as well. You can drop out of more Targon units, but it's still like Tark, I feel like, is always receiving play, and then Leona Diana would be the next package to cut. I do think you eventually cut those guys for just really, really high capped board. And speaking of high cap board, we do fight a Riggs here from Raditz. Raditz hit everything there. My God, that's Rise 2, Ziggs 2, Set 2, Wukong 2. Raditz just went giga fast 9. So, okay, I mean, if our ASL board on ASL 1 was beating that, then I would be calling for a B patch, though. Ooh, now that I think about it, isn't it scary? Because I don't know that they can B patch ASOL now, because they've already A patched him. So, ooh, that means that this is the state that ASOL is going to be in. And what's interesting is, you know, and yes, he does end up pivoting out of all this stuff. I think this is a beautiful, perfect pivot for the ASOL comp here. Going to, you know, get out of all of the stuff that we were already playing. And at the end of the day, we're just playing 2 Targon. We're just playing the Tark. We're just playing the ASOL. We've done the majority of our stacking up at this point. So we can just play a really, really strong Fast 9 unit. Put the traditional Fast 9 traits in. Put Shurima in there. Put Disruptor in there. Put the Piltover on there. It's like, you can just put everything on your board in this spot here, and just we're back to the good old package of the Nico, the Vi, the Seraphine, and the Swain, and then you throw Azir plus Renekton on top of that, and then you throw Shyvana on top of that, and then ASOL is a perfect kind of just threat unit to end up on the board here. But we can see here we're fighting Sabs, who has a pretty decent board here with the, you know, the Volibear, has 2-star Nasus on the front line, has a 2-star Lysandre carry, but the fight's not even close. ASOL is just doing too much damage at this point. And here's the thing. Broseph talks about this a lot in this game, is that the point that they nerfed ASOL at, 675, we still have not actually reached there. We have not actually reached the meteors yet. And so this point, up until this entire point, because PBE does not have the nerf to the meteors on it, this is exactly the same as live. So just goes to show that this comp, I think, is going to be very, very solid on live. I'll have to take the Void Staff here, I guess, just for kind of a little bit of extra value on what, you know, is the Spark. We could also move the TG up here at the last second, but oh, and he does. What a beast. Okay. I mean, he had a lot of rolling to do, but yeah, throw that on this. Go for the Void Staff here. We are fighting Raditz's Riggs board again here. Should be still a very, very strong board, but something pretty scary is happening. We have hit max cap with this ASOL board, so we are beating Rise Ziggs here. Now, Raditz does have the ability to go 10 here, so we'll see if Ray can cap high enough, but it is pretty disturbing. Also, we're using our free rolls here just to try to deny Garen's here. Really, really nice stuff from Broseph, making sure to full sweat this lobby. They're training for what's essentially a tournament, so I mean, I get it here. And so we are going to beat this. This player's not on Ray's, or not Ray. It's not on Broseph's team, right? I don't think so. But we do kill them, take another win. You can see we are just you know, like the image of the Grim Reaper, like going to each of the doors here. That is literally Broseph this game, just killing off actually everybody at this point, because I mean, we've hit critical mass. I think after the changes, it looks like this is the highest cap comp in the game. Rise Ziggs got a little bit of a nerf onto the Ziggs front, and this one obviously got a huge buff here, but you can just see the damage that ASOL is doing. He's just nuking the entire board. Look, he just nukes the entire backline there. 16k damage, has true damage here. I mean, it's just Jover. It is just Jover at this point in the game. And yes, the cap is going to be a little bit lower on live, but like we talked about, look at that. He still hasn't actually reached the Meteor Storm. He has that not at all here. So if we're on live, he would have the ability to reach the Meteor Storm. Wow. But who cares? He's already winning the game without the Meteor Storm. Who needs a Meteor Storm? And it's not like we're fighting a weak board. We're fighting Rise Ziggs, who hit everything and pushed level 10. I mean, it looks like this comp cap's disgustingly high now if you can play it correctly. And this is, remember, we hard forced this comp from the free rerolls. We literally full opened, we're 30 HP. So This comp looks really, really gross. Let me know if you guys get a chance to play it, how it goes. This is a perfect masterclass on how to play it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch, Metafy, I'm links down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. We have a Metafy group session later today. So if you're in the Metafy group, make sure you're in the Discord. I'm pretty sure everybody already is. If you're not and you want to join, link in the description. All right, see you guys later. Bye-bye.